Greetings, pirates and privateers. Grim back at you again with the second installment of our basic hover vessel build tutorial. So last time we got the basic body shape down, and as you can see, kind of looks like an old school cargo van, which features relatively heavily in the novels that I've written, which you might not have any idea about because this is Empyrean Galactic Survival and not me selling my bullshit. Be that as it may, this is a basic hover vessel. Since we finished up last time, I made a couple of different little changes to it. Added some big windows to the sides so that when you're driving it you can actually have a little bit of peripheral vision. We added the headlights, but I sunk the front engine back into the body a little bit just so it looks a little bit better. I moved the two front hover pads from back here somewhere up to the front corners so it's a bit more stable. On the back end I added an extra thruster because going 20 kilometers an hour in this thing was really nail-bitingly slow. Also, you'll notice the entire back panel of the van has been made up of container extensions for the cargo controller. So, I'll show you that on the inside here. Basically, all I did was take the back wall off. You know what? Don't need a jetpack to work on this thing. There we go. Okay, so took the back wall off, replaced it with the cargo extensions, and then added the container controller here. In this container controller, we now have 2,625 units of space. That's not bad. Considering most of the cargo boxes that you run into when you're on ships and stuff are 8,000, it's a little small. But that's alright for right now. We're just starting out. We're just level 10 on a planet with a basic base here. We haven't left the planet yet, so it's still very early game. We don't need a whole heck of a lot. Continuing inside, we've got the matter transceiver so that we can be down in a hole mining stuff, be connected to this cargo container, and not have to worry about space for all the ore that we're grabbing. It'll just go straight into the hover vessel here. Down below is an oxygen tank that I have filled up with sweet O2 because the planet that we're on doesn't have any of its own, so we have to bring our own. There's the generator. There's the small fuel tank that we added. Put the core inside last time so it's not hanging out the ass end anymore. There's the little RCS that allows us to turn, the detector that allows us to find stuff when we're out moving about, and driver and passenger seats. Basic. Nothing more than you need, right? So let's see. Yeah, just two little lateral thrusters. And what we have here is a fully functioning hover vessel that looks like absolute dog shit. It's got the basic shape of a van, but that's about it. So, what we're going to do in this episode is turn it into something I'm hoping, at the very least, folks might recognize. It's what I had in mind when I started this thing. So let's see what we can do. First thing we're going to do is get rid of that ramp, and then we're going to make sure that we're connected to our base here. Yep, we sure are. 93 steel blocks. We're going to pop those on, put the concrete ones back, and the work lamp. And see if there's anything else that we're going to need immediately. Nope, we're just doing body work, so should be okay for now. Might have to cook up a few extra steel blocks in the future, but we got lots for that. Since we are doing an actual playthrough here, this isn't creative mode. The Xerax have already paid us a couple of visits. So I've got some basic turrets up on the roof over there, and I just added a third one over here that should keep us safe and allow us not to worry about them interfering in our crap. We'll hit T, bring up our steel blocks, and get ready to work. Now, the thing that I remember from before from a very famous television show if you're British. I can't say its name on here. But if you have any connection to pop culture at all, you know what this is. Alright, so that is the first bit of the skirt. Let's, oops. Go all the way to the back. Come on. We'll go around the other side. And same thing here. And corners. One for you. One for you. Back to the edge. There we go. Now, for all intents and purposes, our hover engines are nice and protected by a block of steel. Because that's exactly what we meant to do with that, right? Right? Tell me I'm right. I know I'm right. Anyway, seems to me that I can remember there was another something going down the side here. Let's see if we got blocks that can do that. Underneath the round shapes. Oh, there's a half a sphere. That'll work just fine. I wonder if there's a flattened half. Or if it's all just the big stuff. Alright. So we're going to start with cylinders here. Now, we can put them there, or we can have them outrigged. The only problem there is, it doesn't want to do it exactly on... Oh! It does. One there. And since that's the front of the van, we're going to do the sphere half there. So, continue you. All the way down to... Where about there? Yeah, that looks right. Do the same for the other side. Now, there is an easier way when you want something to happen on both sides of the boat, which I'll show you in a minute. There's a little control that you can use to set it up so it'll just automatically copy what you're doing over to the other side. But if you do that when you already have something on the other side, it will delete that instead, and we don't want that. So, for now, back to there. I think that's about right. Let's just double check. So, one block headlight. And over here, just headlight. So, pop you on there. Now, with the round bits that are going to go on the front of these, we're not doing connected to base, we're doing symmetry plane. And we want to pick the YZ or YZ axis. And then click in the middle block. Now you see how that puts a sort of green plane bisecting the design? Now, I'm going to pick our half sphere here. Make sure that it's oriented correctly for the job we want it to do. And if I pop one here, go over the other side, it's done the job for me over there as well. And on the back end here, let's see if we've got, how would that look? A bit of a cone. It doesn't look right. And I wish there was a more deflated sort of sphere. I wonder if we go to all shapes. Something I've noticed is missing once in a while. If I go to the round shapes and pipes, there's a selection here, sure. But if I open up all, I tend to get a few more, so it's always worth it to come and take a look at this. There we go, there's a few round ones. There's a cone, there's a cut cone, sphere half, cone B. Let's see some extra round shapes here, a half cylinder edge. These that didn't show up in the other round parts, right? And one more page. Yeah, nothing in there. Alright, I guess we're sticking with the half sphere. Plunk, on you go. And there's our outrigger pontoon. That looks about right. Ooh, something else that I hadn't thought about. I don't think we have. Go to T. Yep. We don't have a paint gun yet. We need one of those. So, under Tools, in your constructive gizmo. Oh, might have to wait for a second. Anybody? Or was that just lunch? I think it was just lunch. Alright. Go under everything. Go under guns. Right there. Texture and color tool. Doesn't take much to create. There we go. Wait until it's done. Wow, really? Okay, so it is. There we go. Pop that into number 6. Oop. Refill on O2 because I'm an idiot and forgot to. There we go. Nice and full. Now, this was in the original. Here, let's put the texture and color tool here. Number 6 on a regular bar. Alright. This is where you can come and pick a texture for what you want your pieces to look like. Now, on the original that I can't name, it was black rubber, so we're going to use, funny enough, a carpet texture. That's this one here. And black color. And as you can see, makes it look a little bit rubbery. And if your plane is on, paints the other side too. Now, also in the original, I remember this bit up here was kind of an aluminum color, so we're going to leave it the way that it is for now. It might work just like that. But the bottom was orange rubber. And if you hold the button down, you can just swipe along there and paint a swath at a time. I like to be a little bit more precise. My hands tend to shake. So, oop, that's weird. Sometimes it doesn't do it, so you got to go and check the other side and make sure that all of your corners are covered. Alright. Alright, that is the bottom. Now, the van itself was a nice what do we call that? Transportation white? Builder's white? Headlights will take it too. On the top here. Yeah, that's looking pretty true to form. The great thing about the texture that I've picked here, let's make you white too, is that it works exactly the same on the container extensions. Now, I'll show you a little trick here. For standard steel blocks, you right-click on the steel block and you come up with the list of textures available, and there's these 2 pages of pretty decent amount of textures you can pick from to color your block. The same is not true for container extensions. You get, I believe it's just the 1 page. Yeah. So you get 1 page here. It's very few. Some of them are different than the ones that you get for regular steel. However, they do share this one, this one, this one, this one, a couple of the other ones as well. between the two. So if you're looking to hide your containers, like I am, pick one of the textures that is shared with the regular steel, and you should be just fine. So, I'm going to leave those engines because I think I might want to do something a little bit different with those later on. We'll see. Now, since there isn't an O2 station on the other side, it didn't paint this one. Oh, that's the door. Let's close that. There we go. Starting to look familiar? I hope so. Alright, what else are we going to need? Let's paint the roof. We're going to need the jetpack to get up there. Alright. Because this is just a tutorial, I'm not going to go too into depth on all the different little finishing techniques and stuff like that. I might save that for a later video because that stuff can take an awful long time for an awfully small payoff. I'm a fan of getting things right, so I don't mind taking the extra time, but I know that lots of folks out there, even what I'm doing right now, might be a little bit too much for them, so we'll leave that for another time. Now, turn the jetpack off. I want to test this door, because standing on top of this block here, I want to see if we got stuck trying to get in there, and we do. So, we're going to need to add something in between here, just to make it accessible. We're just going to go for a cube for now. And that way, we can walk in and out unhindered. Okay. Well, the outside's looking pretty good. Let's pick something a little different for this. Make it look like the boys built it themselves in a shed. There we go. Looks like it's built out of aluminum sheets and brad nails, which is just about perfect. Let's color you white as well, just for now. Alright, now when you're out and about, like I said, we've packed this thing with just about everything it needs to be a basic hover vessel, but one of the things that you're going to run into, whether you like it or not, is going to be nasty stuff out there that wants to eat you. Now, you can take care of them yourself. Lots of ways to do that. However, it is nice when you're down in the bottom of a hole, digging out some ore, that your hover vessel can do it for you. So, we'll come over to the constructor here, and you have to kind of guess. There's this weird little glitch where the icons disappear here every once in a while. But if you mouse over, it'll tell you what category you're on, so that you can pick what you need. Light Gatling turret, please, and a harvester module. So, we're going to need room to stick those on the bits that they're supposed to go on our van here. And because we did a shallow block for the roof, you can see here, it holds anything else up in the air that you might want to put down there. So we're going to have to remove some of those and replace them with bigger blocks. Alright. Retrieve. There we go. 2, 3. So 3x3 square is the size of a standard cannon. There's a few ways that we can do this. They tend to sit, it's like a plus sign that their footprint takes. So we could just pop a plus sign in here and then put smaller plates in around the corners. Might get a little bit craftier than that though. So, let me see here. Let's see if the double ramp, one there, and we're going to put one there, and over on this corner, there we go, and in the middle, cube. And are we done with our gun yet? Yes, we are. I need to move out of the way, apparently. That looks just about perfect, doesn't it? All right. That means that we can put back our small wall piece here into the corners. And paint it up to match. That all looks right. How about the back? Aha! Jetpack again. Alright. So there's our little roof-mounted cannon. Paint you white too, so that you match. Alright, so we're armed. And the last little bit of business, I think, is our harvester attachment. So, let's see, there you are. This is for grabbing trees, plants, all that kind of stuff. Now, I was hoping it wouldn't be too much of a bother, but it looks like it's going to take up a good amount of real estate in the front. So, unfortunately, it's not going to look too true to the original, but we need it, and it's not a giant bulldozer blade, so out in the front it goes. Now, we need to find a way to connect pontoons up to the side so that it doesn't look as janky as it does right now. And that's going to involve some fancy-dancy blockwork. I'm thinking too high? How about you? Yeah, that looks good. So, one of you there. And one of you there. So those are now connected. And here's the other thing. We got to work on this back end too. What could we possibly do back there? Alright, so that's connected up. Give those a little paint job. Just so they fit with the rest of the model. There we go. Now, back here was a little bit different in the original, if I'm remembering my history correctly. Let's you out of there and you out of there. And, whew, 10 blocks. We gotta go back in and see how many more we got. 9 extra. Gonna be able to do enough? 20? Perhaps. And this is where you gotta get creative. Let's see. round sloped wall. I don't think we have the right size of stuff. To make it look correct. Yeah. So, we're going to have to cheat a little bit. One there. Right there. And we're going to get our wall again. And up top. And down below. Alright, that's looking good. Now, we can put one thruster back in the middle, so we're going to do that, and then we might be able to stick some stuff on that thruster and make it look like a ducted fan. That's the idea anyway. It's my first time trying this, so it's not my fault if it doesn't work. You heard it here first. Alright, back to bits and pieces. Now let's see if I wall slope C. That's almost there. What do you look like? Oh, not quite. Let's go into flat bits. Yeah, that's all I can play with is just those. So, I think it was you. You look the closest. Okay, so we're going to turn off our symmetry plane. So that's the N key, remember? One of those there. One of those there. One of those there. One of those there. And that is a ducted fan, or at least as close as I can get. So now we're going to go back and give it another paint job. This is going to be our plated texture in a dull gray, because it's a fan blade. Remember to pay attention to the little details, because if you don't, somebody else will, and they'll call you out on it, and nobody wants to be called out. Like I know you're all going to do to me as soon as this video is public. Okay. There. Alright. One last piece there, and we're going to go back to paint white, because I believe this thing was made out of white plastic in the original. Again, remember to double check and make sure you've gotten every surface that you can. Little bits hide out and are easy to miss if you're not paying super close attention. Alright, that looks good. I think we can leave that small thruster the same color that it is. Alright. Now, we do need to put that second thruster somewhere, and because the entire back of this sucker is containers, we might have to get creative, and I think right there it's going to work just fine. Now that one we can paint white. There we go. Now take a look around here. Do you take paint? You do. That's beautiful. Last but not least, the interior. Now, of course, this is up to you. Um, it's your creation. You can do whatever you wish. But me, I like to at least have a feeling that it's a finished product. So we're going to get with that texture, white. Sort of like it was a cargo van. In actuality, make it a little bit homier to bomb around the planet in. And it's not as jarring and honestly immersion breaking to get in and feel like it's just another pasted together little asset. To that end, actually, I don't like this. Can I do that on both sides? I can. I'm going to have to paint some of the outside again. Now, what I'm doing here is giving myself a little bit of extra field of vision, because when you're sitting in the chair you can actually see part of that wall. So we're going to switch this to, it's going to be a good one, U. That looks like it's going to give us a nice wide angle. Alright, and then over the other side. There, that feels a bit more like a van. Now, something else that we're going to need that we haven't installed just yet, and we can use, I'm thinking the floor here for, is an ammunition controller. So, we're going to go over here. That turret on the roof is going to need something to pull its rounds from. And that, there's hover vessel. So there's, yeah, we're also going to need a harvest if you want to use that thing on the front. I'll walk you through what to do with that in a minute, but the ammunition one is the important one for right now. So ammunition controller, and then we're going to need just a few of those guys. We'll do the harvest too. Why not? It's a tutorial after all, correct? So, when you're bombing around the countryside, you are going to run into various little beasties that want to chew on you, and they are going to be taken care of by that turret. Let's put you here. Alright. So that's going to be the ammo box. Where are you? Ammunition controller. Now, anything that you connect to this, so here, 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 let's say, will give you 125 more capacity. However, the capacity that this thing has is just about 1,000 rounds on its own, so I'm going to leave it where it is for now, and then we're going to do right here, and here, 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 here. Should be just about ready. Where are you? There, yeah, right in front of my face. And there's the container extensions. Alright. Harvest container. Now, you can make this as big or as small as you want. I'm doing this just to illustrate a point. This could be the entire floor. Problem is, you can't put if you've already put the back wall over there up as container controllers on one specific controller, this one over here in the corner, here, let's get our pointing implement. So anything connected to this can't touch anything connected to this. You have to have a block in between them. So for this particular setup, you could extend them all the way back to this one, because a corner doesn't mean that they're contacting. Contacting would have to be right over top of each other or right beside each other. So up to this square across the back, and maybe that square and the one under there as well, would be okay, because we only use the back wall of the van for the harvest controller. But for our purposes today, this is going to be just fine. Now, let's go outside, make sure that our paint job is taken care of. Wouldn't want to... Close the door. That door gets in the way of that wall. It's weird, the placement on that thing. Alright, wouldn't want to look like we're out of uniform or anything here. And that looks to be a pretty funny little faithful recreation, and I'm going to say not bad for, would it take us about an hour and a half? Let's go see how it works. Again, no cheat codes. This is what you see is what you get. Press Y to fire it up, and when you hold down the space bar... Oh, look at that, I already made a mistake. See my oxygen? I'll never learn. Right. Fill up on O2 before you leave the base. There we go. Alright, we have the jetpack on so I can get back in there. Alright. Back in the driver's seat. Hit V so we can switch our view angle. Now, something interesting here. When you hit V, you get that third-person view. If you hit the Alt key, now you can pan your camera around the vehicle. Something else you can do here, if you use your mouse wheel, you can scroll back a little bit so that you can see what's behind you, and if you let go of the mouse and use your page up and page down keys, you can raise or drop the camera so that, let's leave it about there, when you hit the Alt key again, that's now your third person. So it's easier to manipulate it in such a way that you can actually see what the way that you like. Anyway, now you'll notice that we're out of ammunition. See? Live game. Isn't that awesome? This little sucker up top here takes 12.7 ammo. So I'm really quick going to bust off a few of those and load us up. Let's go for guns. We're down on nitrocellulose. I know where I have some of that. What are you? 7.62. I'll take those. You just bust off 10. You know what? We'll put those in the ammo box, and we'll take from the ammo box stuff that we need. So there's hover vessel, ammunition controller, volume 125, and if we go base, let's take 500 rounds just about. No problem. Takes 47 of 125, so you can fit 1,000 rounds in here easily. And for dealing with wildlife, you really don't need much more than that. That said, go for a drive. You can see adding the glass in there made this much easier to deal with. That was our base taking care of dinner. Yeah, we can come back for that later. Right now, that tree is looking good, and you can see on the toolbar there, number 1 is highlighted. That is the big grabber bar on the front there. So you nestle right up to a tree, keep your finger on the throttle, and hit the button. And that's it, 5 wooden logs. And they go straight into the harvest controller. And it'll work that way for any of the plants out here that are standing up. So no longer do you need to stand outside with the chainsaw or mine biodiesel from plants. Some of these take a little longer. And you get less. But for the most part, that's how she works. Gun's a little bit different. I believe over this way is a spring, and if it has... Where is the spring from here? It was up this way. Yep, I can see it there past the crash ship. Pop us up to 10 meters. So that's one of the other great things about those big hover pads. They get you up to 9 meters above the ground, so you can pretty much skim over most of the small surface rocks and plants and stuff like that. If you don't have those, you can only go up to 3 meters, I believe. And that will get you hung up more often than not. So, I don't see anything here yet, but I think we might need to get closer. There we go. Is it shooting behind us? Yeah, it's tracking something. There we go. Looks like it just scored us lunch. And there you have it, folks. A very simple, very usable, and very easy to recognize hover vessel that you can build too. And if you don't want to build it, come on over to the Cartel Incorporated Nexus page, where this, with all the other ships and bases and hover vessels that I've built, are available for free for you to download and use in your game as you see fit. That's all I got for now. This is Grim from Cartel Incorporated saying thanks for joining us, and I'm signing off.